Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad. Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev.
We have lots of young boys around the same age. Little different, but close to the same age. What's the age range? 12 to 13, 15, something like that? Okay. Good luck, guys. What you see on the screen here is a continuation from yesterday. Juna Jivana brought up the topic of Sridhar Swami and his commentaries in Canto 10, Chapter 87, something in many of the verses about Lord Nrsingadev. So the question came up, is he a Nrsinga Bhakta? Remember that discussion? And a little research, and he's a Nrsinga Bhakta. Now, I wasn't able to find the exact scriptural verification of that, but it's Hari Parshad Prabhu spoke about it specifically. And there's a verse found in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 8, towards the beginning. That's the opening verse of chapter 9, which we've been discussing, 791. Sridhar Swami, in his commentary on the Bhagavatam, wrote this verse as part of his commentary. And it's Ugra Api Anugra Eva. Ugra, you know the meaning. Ugra, like Ugra Nrsinga. Fierce. Ugra Nrsinga. Although Anugra, Swabhaktanam Nri Keshari. Keshari is a lioness. So as a Eva, as a Keshari, is very gentle to the cubs, little baby lions. Anyesham Ugra Vikramaha. So his Vikrama, his ferocious strength, is not meant for the devotees. The ferocious strength is meant for Hiranyakasipu. Here's the word for word, and here's the translation. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakasipu, Lord Nrsingadev is very, very soft and kind to the devotees like Prahlada Maharaj. Now that verse is where we're going to end up today. We're not going to finish. We're going to get about like almost 2/3 of the way through. Almost, but not quite, so of chapter 9. So there's a lot remaining. And we're going to begin with text 3031 and a little summary from Prabhupada's purport of this section is, in these verses, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy is being taught by Prahlada, where everything is one, and that oneness is the Supreme Lord. That is, he expands his energies everywhere, and so there's this oneness relationship between all emanations and the source of those emanations. So that's the oneness feature, the abheda, and then there's the bheda. So yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference. So that's Lord Chaitanya's teaching. Again, a few times I'm going to say it. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya are the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam are the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And since Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest pramana, that means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings are the highest. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So let's go into verse 30. Nice illustration here. There's Krishna in the background. He's not so visible, but he's there. There's time energy and there's things floating around. My dear Lord. Now, the picture, this is a little 5-year-old boy, Prahlada, but he's heard from Narada Muni, and so he understands everything that Narada Muni understands, which is everything. And although he's little, he not only can say it, but he understands it. He's a very special personality. You alone manifest yourself as the entire cosmic manifestation, for you existed before the creation. You exist after the annihilation, and you are the maintainer between the beginning and the end. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone. So that's the oneness. But there's a difference also, because the energetic is not the energy and the energy is not the energetic. There's a distinction. It's easy. It's easy, but you can't hold it in your mind. It just doesn't work. You can see this or you can see that, but to hold this and that in your mind at the same time is not, the mind can't do it. So what to do? What if your mind can't do it? You try to go to some other resource besides your mind. That's a good idea, isn't it? Krishna remains aloof from the entire cosmic manifestation. That's a theme in the next verse, text 31. Where's Bhagavad Gita? Did you forget? It's in the car. You have a Bhagavad Gita in your house, I bet. Could you bring it? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the same thing. The same thing. It's in chapter 9. And the first 3 verses of chapter 9, Krishna, I'm going to teach something that is better than anything else I've taught before, up to this point. The most confidential knowledge. Well, you even know the verse. Look at that. Okay. So I'm going to read. You have the Bhagavatam. Good. Put it right here. So listen carefully. It's the Sanskrit Mayata Tamidam Sarvam Jagat Abhyaktamurtina Matstani Sarvabhutani Na Cha Aham Teshu Avastita. By me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. All beings are in me, but I am not in them, because he has a separate existence. Therefore, he's not in them. But wait a minute, he's not done. He's going to do a double talk. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Wait a minute. Everything rests in me, but behold, my mystic opulence, everything that is created does not rest in me. Although I am, same as what these 2 verses are saying, although I am the maintainer of all living entities, right? He's the maintainer. Nitya Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadati Kaman. You all know this verse, except the boys that aren't paying attention. They don't know the verse. That's why you don't know the verse, because you don't pay attention. You've heard the verse before? Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. You've heard that before? Not just him, behind you, the one that was getting distracted, and now I'm getting on his case where he got distracted. You've heard the verse before? No. Would you like to know the meaning of that verse? You know the meaning, you know who is Lord Nityananda, right? You know who he is, right? So what does Nitya mean? Nitya means eternal, right? Nitya Nityananda, eternal Ananda. Nityananda. So Nityo is singular. Nityanam is plural. I mean, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, but Prabhupada said it so many times. Nityo or Nitya is singular. Nityanam is plural. So there's one, that's Krishna, and there's many, that's us, Nityanam. And then there's Chaitana, Chaitananam. Chaitana means conscious, and Chaitananam means many conscious. So we have qualities like Krishna. He's eternal, we're eternal. He's conscious, we're conscious. But there's a distinction between the one and the many. What's that? Eka means one. Eko, bahunam. Bahu means many. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Kaman means desire. The needs and the desires and the necessities of everybody, of all the many, are fulfilled by the one. So now you know a nice little important Sanskrit verse. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. The one is maintaining the necessities of the many. Although we're conscious and we're eternal, and so is God, we're not God because we're not maintaining everybody, but He is. And He maintains everyone through the agency of his potencies, which are spread everywhere. But He has a separate existence. Although His potencies are spread everywhere, and in that sense, everything is one with Him because just like the sunshine and the sun. Is there such a thing as sunshine without a sun? No. Is there such a thing as a sun without sunshine? No. They're inseparable. In that sense, they're one. But the sun and the shine are not the same. Not exactly, not 100% the same. Like, it's daytime, so there's some light coming in the room. So we could say the sunlight's in the room. We can't say the sun's in the room, because if the sun was in the room, we'd have a problem. But the sun is in the room through the agency of the sunlight. Krishna is everywhere through the agency of his potencies. So he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Just like, Nrsingadev Hiranyakasipu was asking Prahlada, where is your Vishnu? He's everywhere. Now he's everywhere in a number of ways. He's everywhere through his energies. That's one way he's everywhere. He's everywhere through his feature Brahman, and he's everywhere in terms of his feature Paramatma. So he's triple everywhere. So there, he's everywhere. At the same time, so everything is in him because his potencies, etc., but he has his own abode. He's with his devotees in Vrindavan, enjoying pastimes, and he doesn't get bothered by so many text messages and emails and stuff, because all that's taken care of by his potencies. Although he's the controller. He's the controller of all controllers. That's how he does it. Okay, so we just heard, now we're going back to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 5, behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not, here's the trick, I am not a part of the cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of the creation, meaning the energetic is not the same as the energy. So although the energy or the creation comes from the source, he has his own existence apart from the energy. He's not part of the energy, although the energy is part of him, or it's an aspect of him. It's not the totality of him, because the totality of him is everything. And some little part of everything is not the totality of everything. Then he gives a nice example. We're going to hear a different example shortly. Prahlada is going to give a different example. But here's the Bhagavad Gita example. It's really simple. This is chapter 9, text number 6, Bhagavad Gita. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all beings rest in me. Okay. There's a window, and outside the window there's a house, and there's some people moving around in the backyard over there, but there's also a big sky. And we can't see the wind blowing, but there's some clouds in the sky, and the clouds are moving, so you know the wind is blowing the clouds. Because clouds just, otherwise they hang out. They don't go anywhere. But when the wind blows the clouds move. So just as there's clouds in the sky, and the mighty wind is blowing the clouds around in the sky, is the sky moving? No. The sky's more subtle, right? There's 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and sky, or ether. So when the wind moves, or air moves, that's what wind is, as when air moves, the sky doesn't move because it's more subtle. So when we're doing stuff, does Krishna doing stuff? He's unchanged. He's unchanged. He's conscious, he's Chaitanya. He's conscious of what's going on, but he's not changed. He's, in that sense, he's aloof. He's aloof not in the sense, oh, I don't care. Not that kind of aloof. He's just unchanged. Because time is needed for things to change. But in Krishna's realm, the time factor doesn't exist. Time as we know it doesn't exist. There's eternal time. What's eternal time anyways? Well, we don't have experience of it. We have experience of past, present, and future time. Just like all of us are sitting here. Before we were sitting here, we were somewhere else. And even the family that's here, they were doing something else. They weren't just sitting here. So now, and when we're done, we're going to go somewhere. They may stay in the house, but they're not going to be standing over there and over there. They're going to be doing something else. So we existed before we came here, but time was needed for us to get here, and after some time, we're going to go somewhere else. So it's time energy. This is our time energy topic. Time energy is moving. And as time energy is moving, guess what? So do we. We can't move without time. Time is needed for us to do stuff. And what's time energy? Time energy is Krishna's energy. Time energy brings things into being. Time energy destroys things. And oh, by the way, there's present time too. But we're really usually busy with the future stuff and the past stuff, and not so much in the present. That's called distracted japa. You know what I mean? Distracted japa. Keep trying, Prabhus. Strive towards attentive, absorbed japa. And there you're going to meet Krishna. Isn't that nice? Keep trying. Yeah, but keep trying. Yeah, but Krishna will help you. Keep trying. Yeah, but I'm really small and Krishna's like so far away and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, Prahlada's going to touch on that one in this set of verses too. And that the bridge that gets us from where we are to where we want to go is Krishna is very kind. That's the mercy topic. Even for little people like us, Krishna is very kind. It's not like we're important. We're really unimportant. We're quite insignificant, really. But Krishna is very kind. That's significant. And Prahlad knows it. So he's describing his position in relation to everything, in relation to creation, everything manifest. So let's go, that's the verses 4 through 6. Krishna remains aloof from the entire cosmic manifestation. Now this is Lord Nrsingadev also. Here's the verse spoken by Prahlada. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, the entire cosmic creation is caused by you. And the cosmic manifestation is an effect of your energy. Clear. Although the entire cosmos is but you alone, that's the oneness, you keep yourself aloof from it. That's the difference. But aloof from it doesn't mean I don't care. It means he's not moved when it's moved, when it moves. The conception of mine and yours, mine, that's the I and mine, I and mine and yours, is certainly a type of illusion or maya, because everything is an emanation from you and is therefore not different from you. Indeed, the cosmic manifestation is not different from you, and the annihilation is also caused by you. Now that's philosophy, and maybe some of you are half asleep because it's just philosophy. But it's not just philosophy. It's our relationship. And if you listen, if you hear with attentiveness, Prahlada is not just a philosopher. He's a devotee. And he's describing for us, but he's describing his appreciation of Lord Nrsingadev, the personality of Godhead, and his relationship with everything that's happening. And bad stuff was happening to Prahlada. He wasn't like shaking his finger at God saying, wait a minute, I'm this 5-year-old boy. Look what you're allowing, you're permitting this to happen to me. That's not fair. What's wrong with you? Sit straight. No, that's not Prahlada. Not Prahlada. So here's a part of Prabhupada's purport. This relationship between your lordship and the cosmos is illustrated by the example of the seed and the tree, or the subtle cause and the gross manifestation. Look at this, lots of varieties of trees. Maybe the season is going to come soon and we'll be able to see varieties of trees. Spring is such a nice season, really spectacular. Of seasons, I'm the flower-bearing spring. So, beautiful flowers from expansive trees of different shapes and sizes and so forth and so on. There's varieties, but it comes from a seed. And there's the subtle seed. That's the seed of seeds. And Krishna is the cause of the subtle seed, that's the cause of the seeds, that's the cause of everything that's manifest that we can perceive. He's a philosopher, but he's a bhakta. And he can understand these things because of his bhakti. So we could also understand these things if we have a little bhakti. So now comes another section, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. 5 verses. There's 3 Vishnu Tattva forms. Now, some of you like reading Prabhupada's books. I know you do. And I know that those of you who like reading Prabhupada's books, you know where the Vishnu forms are described in some detail and then further detail, then further detail. But one really nice place is Canto 1, Chapter 3, the very beginning. There's a description of the 3 Vishnu forms. Do you know what the 3 Vishnu forms are? Let's hear it. Yeah. Very good. Fantastic. You know the distinction between them? What's the first one you mentioned is Garbhodakshay Vishnu.
For the ocean?
Yeah, there's the Garbhodak ocean. He's right. He's reclining on the Garbhodak ocean. And what's his function? What does he do? Garbhodakshay Vishnu does what? You forgot? Well, let me say, just say one word. Navel. What happens with his navel? What does he do?
Does he makes the lotus come out?
That's it. That's it. Who's seen a lotus come out of a navel? I mean, gosh. But that's what Garbhodakshay Vishnu does. And what comes on top of the lotus? There's a lotus flower. And who appears on the top of the lotus flower? Starts with a B. Lord Brahma. Yeah. Lord Brahma appears on the top of the lotus. And so the function of Garbhodakshay Vishnu is to assist in the process of creation. But he doesn't do it. He just, go ahead, Brahma, you do it. And so he does it. So that's Garbhodakshay Vishnu. The second one was Karana Vishnu. What does he do? Karana. Karana means causation. He lies in the causal ocean, the Karana ocean. So Karana Dakshay Vishnu lies on the causal ocean, and what does he do? He breathes. And as he exhales, seeds of universes. We can't do it. Seeds. This is the subtle seed just previously mentioned. Subtle seeds, golden in color, come from the pores of his body when he exhales. And they go out, and then he inhales and they come back in again. And those seeds are seeds of universes. And the elements of creation cling. Bhaktisiddhanta's word is they conglomerate. They cling to those seeds, and then the universes start to grow. And then he inhales, and then the universes collapse and go back into the body of Mahavishnu. That's the Karana Dakshay. He's the cause. And then we know what the Shiro Dakshay Vishnu does. He's in the heart of every living entity, and he tells us to. You and Jivan have read this little passage about little puppies when they're born. They can't even, maybe you've seen, they can't even open their eyes. But somehow they know to go to the mother and take milk from the mother, or little kittens. Where are they getting that intelligence? Paramatma. How does anybody know how to do anything? How do you know how to do your homework? Or play baseball or whatever it is that you like to do. How do you know how to do it? Without Super Soul giving the intelligence, you can't walk across the floor. You can't take prasadam at the end either. But you know how to do that. Super Soul. But everything that's going on here is resting upon these three Vishnu Tattva forms. And it all starts from a little seed. The seed of subtle existences manifest themselves into more detailed forms. I'm going to read a few verses that are these verses. This is chapter 9 of Canto 7. I'm going to read just the verse 32 through 36. It's 5 verses. What's going on?
Periodically giving some hissing noise. I don't know how the live
You can hear the hissing noise? We're fine. We can provide you a yoga mat if you want. Text 32. Oh, my Lord, O Supreme Personality Godhead, after the annihilation of the creative energy is kept in you, who appear to sleep with half-closed eyes. Actually, however, you do not sleep like an ordinary human being, for you are always in a transcendental stage beyond the creation of the material world, and you always feel transcendental bliss as Karanadakshay Vishnu. As Karanadakshay Vishnu, he's speaking to Lord Nrsingadev, and he's addressing him as Karanadakshay Vishnu, because from the Narayana of Vaikuntha comes expansions of the Vishnu forms. You thus remain in your transcendental status, not touching material objects, although you appear to sleep. The sleeping is distinct from sleeping in ignorance. 33. This cosmic manifestation, the material world, is also your body. This total lump of matter is agitated by your potent energy known as Kala Shakti. Let me pick on somebody else back there. Any one of you boys know what Kala means? Kala means time. Very good. So Kala Shakti is the time Shakti, time energy. So he brings Mahavishnu, or Karanadakshay Vishnu, glances at Pradhan, the totality of material energy, undifferentiated. He simply glances, and with his glance, there's the hissing. With his glance comes Kala Shakti. With his glance comes Kala Shakti. Pay attention, pay attention. With his glance comes Kala Shakti. Pretty ecstatic, huh? Kala Shakti. And thus, the three modes of material nature are manifested. They were dormant until Kala Shakti came and woke them up. You awaken from the bed of Shesha Ananta, and from your navel, this is Garbhodakshay Vishnu, a small transcendental seed is generated. And it is from this seed that the lotus flower of the gigantic universe is manifest, exactly as a banyan tree grows from a small seed. Exactly. 34. From that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated, but Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus, because it was dark in all directions. We find that from Brahma Samhita. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. Long search. He could find no trace of you, however, for when a seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Pretty clever, huh? 35. Lord Brahma, who is celebrated as Atma, Yoni, having been born without a mother, was struck with wonder. Thus he took shelter of the lotus flower, and when he had been purified after undergoing severe austerities for many hundreds of years, doesn't say by which calculation, he could see that the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality Godhead, was spread throughout his own body and senses, just as aroma, although very subtle, is perceived in the earth. And then the last one. Lord Brahma could then see you. Remember, he's addressing Lord Nrsingadev. Possessing thousands and thousands of faces, feet, heads, hands, thighs, noses, ears, and eyes. Universal form, right? You were very nicely dressed. being decorated and bedecked with varieties of ornaments and weapons, seeing you in the form of Lord Vishnu, your symptoms and form being transcendental, your legs extending from the lower planets. Lord Brahma achieved transcendental bliss. So it wasn't the universal form, it was a special feature of Lord Vishnu. And Prabhupada doesn't mention anything here about universal form in the purport. So that was pretty enlivening. And so Prahlada is really a scholar, isn't he? 5-year-old scholar. He just heard lots of Bhagavatam classes from Narada Muni. Attentively, of course. So that was through 36. Now we're going to 37. And this will end with this section. Prahlada's knowledge, humility, and compassion. So, my dear Lord, when you appeared as Hayagriva with the head of a horse, you killed 2 demons known as Madhu and Kaitaba, who were full of the modes of passion and ignorance. Then you delivered the Vedic knowledge to Lord Brahma. Look at that, he's giving the Vedic knowledge to Lord Brahma. Hayagriva to Lord Brahma. For this reason, all the great saints accept your form as transcendental, untinged by material qualities. We know that one of the names of the Supreme Lord is Madhu Sudana, because he is the killer of the Madhu demon. So when in the early parts, there's a detail, a small detail. In the early parts of creation, Brahma was given knowledge of the Vedas by the Supreme Lord. And that knowledge was coming in the form of sound. And Madhu and Kaitaba thought they're going to steal this knowledge. So they came and tried to steal the knowledge. Big mistake. Lord Vishnu came and finished Madhu and Kaitaba and then gave that knowledge again to Brahma. So we rescued that knowledge, because knowledge in the hands of people that are bad can be really bad. So be careful. Because of the reactions of our own, so this is now the several verses, we're just spanning quickly. Because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into the river, this river of material existence, and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. He didn't mention what horrible things. But there's the river, and there's people suffering, and there's the Sankirtan party crossing the river, having nice kirtan on top of the boat. So, similar to a verse that's described in Bhagavad Gita, same message is here in chapter 9, text number 40. I'll read the verse. The illustration makes the verse very clear. Here's 40. My dear Lord, O infallible one, my position is like that of a person who has many wives, all trying to attract him in their own way. For example, the tongue is attracted to palatable dishes, the genitals to sex with an attractive woman, the sense of touch to the contact with soft things, the belly, although filled, still wants to eat more, and the ear, not attempting to hear about you, is generally attracted to cinema songs. Now, how'd that appear in the Bhagavatam? Cinema songs in the Bhagavatam. Come on. The sense of smell is attracted to yet another side. The restless eyes are attracted to scenes of sense gratification, and the active senses are attracted elsewhere. In this way, I am certainly embarrassed. Poor fellow. Too many wives. Now Prahlada is asking for compassion. Now, he's more than willing, but Prahlada is more than willing to receive. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering. That's how he was speaking to his classmates, giving happiness to his classmates. They became very happy until Sundaramarka came in and things got a little messy. Oh, best of the great personalities, I'm not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. He looks very happy, but there's an unhappiness. My concern is only for fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I'm simply concerned with love for them. The language doesn't sound like loving, but it's loving because you're understanding by their misdirected intelligence, they're suffering unnecessarily. Plans for material happiness, etc., etc. So now we're going to go back one verse, and the section will end, and our class will end. This is verse 42. And focus is going to go on this phrase. You'll see the phrase a few times. Priya Janan Anu Sevatam Naha. Oh, my Lord, O Supreme Personality Godhead, original spiritual master of the entire world, what is the difficulty for you who manage the affairs of the universe in delivering the fallen souls engaged in your devotional service? You are the friend of all suffering humanity. And for great personalities, it is necessary to show mercy to the foolish, that's us. Therefore, I think you will show your causeless mercy to persons like us who engage in your service. So he's just had a whole nice section in identifying Lord Vishnu and the process of creation and all of that. And now he's looking at the living entities, not only himself. And here we are suffering in this ocean of material stuff, material so-called pleasure, and it's very unpleasant. So please pick us up, not just me, but all living entities. It's your kindness, and especially those living entities. Priya Janan Anusevatam Naha. Those who are engaged in your service. So there's terms in this verse 42. Krishna is Akila Guru, the supreme spiritual master of the entire creation. He is Bhava Sambhava Lopa Heto. He manages the affairs of the universe. That's Vishnu, does those things. He is Artha Bandho. Krishna is the friend of the suffering living entities. And he's capable of giving shelter to everyone at all times. And how does he give that shelter? Nice painting, isn't it? Govardhan Leela and so living entities underneath Govardhan Hill, and Krishna's protecting them with the little finger of his left hand. Krishna extends his shelter through his devotees. Of course, this is Prabhupada's purport. That's how it comes. He doesn't have to, but that's what he likes to. And then, Priya Janan Anusevatam Naha, from the purport, the personality of Godhead is very favorable to devotees who act according to the instructions of his own pure devotee. Prabhupada's passport on the left. And he came for that purpose because he was sent by the Supreme Lord through the agency of his devotees to bring the good news of Srimad Bhagavatam and the life of devotion to Krishna to people that knew nothing about nothing. Somebody sent me, and I asked it to be forwarded. Did it get forwarded yet? About a 3-minute little video of one professor. It was on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of ISKCON. But he is expressing his appreciation of what an amazing thing Prabhupada did. Did you see that video? No? Who received it? Oh, you received it. Okay. So those of you that didn't receive it, complain. Or look, and then maybe you did receive it. It's a nice nice professor who's speaking from Franklin and Marshall. What's his name? Franklin and Marshall. Huh? You'll find it. Yeah. And he's speaking at Harvard Divinity School on the occasion of Prabhupada's 50th anniversary. And he's saying what an amazing thing Prabhupada did. He's making a comparison with Christ and Muhammad. That Christ had many, many followers, Muhammad had many family members, and Prabhupada had nobody. He went to another culture where people are like Aborigines. He didn't say that word. People that knew nothing about Chaitanya Vaishnavism. And, single-handedly, he transformed many, 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 many lives. And then it went all around the world. And one person, how powerful was this one person? So the mercy of the Supreme Lord comes through.
Franklin Hopkins from Marshall University, Harvard Divinity.
Okay. Tom Hopkins. Yeah. Franklin and Marshall. So this is the last slide. The mood of being the servant of the servants, plural. And then the final, this message of the compassion of Prahlada, that Prahlada is expressing, appealing to Lord Nrsingadev to deliver everyone, not just him, specifically those who are his devotees. So this is the becoming qualified, the first deserve, then desire message. Anyway, the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam are the teachings in Chaitanya Charitamrita and in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and vice versa. So that's our topic. We got to slide number 74 out of 106. We're not done. We'll do another part some other time. Especially chapter 10 is really nice. This is also very nice. Just a couple comments. It's nice. I very much appreciate how the Bhagavatam is composed. It's giving, under the storyline of Prahlada, it's giving a big picture of many things that are part of the whole of the Bhagavatam's message. Prahlada is the spokesperson, the mouth, or the source of sound through whom the message message of the Bhagavatam is being sent forward. And the acharyas, they appreciate very much the message of Prahlada and repeat his message, and that's what we're doing right now, just repeating his message. And it has a very wonderful effect. It has a purifying and awakening effect. It's to cleanse and to revive our forgotten relationship with Krishna just by hearing these sound vibrations. Because then a lot depends on what we're going to do with we have that. The application part. But it sure helps to have, a clear sense of direction. I think the last thing is look around the room. There's a good number of young people here, and you're still here. Congratulations. Because, for young people to sit and hear all this stuff is like, oh gosh. but you're still here. So, even if you're not understanding, and if you're a little distracted by things that young people get distracted by, the sound vibration is going to have an effect. The sound vibration is having an effect, and will continue to have an effect, even, some time from now. And it's very, very different than material sound. I mean, just speaking thinking back on all the academic stuff I did as a young fellow, I don't remember what that stuff is. I could spend some time and try to trigonometry and calculus and, and science, this and that. And it was, I needed to learn that stuff because I thought that was what's so important, is you can do that stuff. But that didn't stay with me. And spiritual sound stays with you. So our young people, and even you can't follow all of this, but you continue to hear it, and continue to hear it, and continue to hear it, and something's happening. There's some transformation that's going on inside. Just like Ramayana, some of you are younger and you don't hear Ramayana so much, but young people of older generation, just hearing Ramayana and hearing Ramayana and hearing Ramayana, something happens. It goes inside. And hearing the Bhagavatam, it's like elevated topics. Different souls having different spiritual trajectory in their lives. Some it'll be more meaningful, some less meaningful, but that's okay. You're here, and the sound vibration is having an effect. It's going to make a lasting impact on your life. So, thank you, and congratulations for sticking it out through all these hours we've been together. Now let's see if there's some discussion. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for this class, and also for this very amazing seminar. Very touching and transformative, very deeply, you could say, it created some deep impressions. And one of the things that you said before was how Prahlada Maharaj heard from Narad Muni for 100 celestial years. And that was quite amazing, because it's how much he heard 100 celestial years. I just never thought about that, never knew that he heard for so much, such a long time. And then today you were speaking about attention, and you said how if we chant attentively, we'll meet Krishna. We'll meet Krishna through the attentive chanting. And I just wanted a little more comment on that, because I was just thinking about that as you were mentioning it, because in my conscious memory, I've been chanting 20 years and been trying and trying and trying, and that is the thing, like the attention doesn't seem to improve that much. So you're mentioning we have to keep trying. So is it just more years, just keep trying, or something else is lacking? Because it almost seems a little hopeless. It's just, kept trying, but the attention isn't improving.
Somebody shared something with me the other day, and their number was 26. The first time they shared, the first time they chanted 16 rounds was on Ram Navami 26 years ago. And their recollection was those 16 rounds was completely ecstatic, and here I am 26 years later struggling to be attentive and absorbed. So it's not a time bound experience or phenomena. It boils down to simply effort and mercy. So we can, if our effort were more consistent, we'd probably get more mercy. Unfortunately, our effort is unsteady, anishtata bhakti, due to stuff inside, anarthas inside, and because of the anarthas inside, it's unsteady. Sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes in between. So it's not just a matter of punch the clock. It's a matter of effort and mercy. And now, then what kind of effort? Because that's what I can do on my side. What kind of effort? And then there's so many answers to what kind of effort. And it's not about techniques. There's techniques, but it's not about techniques. It's about a spiritual aspiration, or a desire to reawaken reality and leave behind non-reality while we're navigating our way through material existence. You as a householder with a career and a wife and a child and a mother and, a house and stuff, that takes some time and energy. And I don't have any of those things, but it's still not. It's just a matter of time. So I've been at it more than both of you together, and I'm not there yet. Being consistent with the striving is what's important. The qualitative weight in being consistent is also important. And there's nice literatures written. We'll be having a festival of the Holy Name, as we've been doing for so many years, on the topic of qualitative chanting and so forth. And it's just continuing to make effort, continuing to get reminders. Association of persons who are more further along the path of absorption than we are, and hearing from them, being with them, associating with them. And different tools or different approaches or different modalities are going to be more helpful for one person and something else for another person. But so besides the modality and the tools, what do you really want? That, spiritual life means we have to, like Shruti's question yesterday, the exclusive focus. No, the nature of the question was a little different, but it comes down to the same thing. How much are we really focused? And when you're really focused, it doesn't mean you ignore details of what's going on around you and responsibilities, and Prabhupada wasn't like that. Very conscious of his duties and relationships and things. So it's incumbent upon us to try to touch the heart of what real bhakti life is, and all these other things are helpful. And the essence is that the consciousness of being in our relationship with Krishna, and things are helpful. We do the things that are helpful. And keep practice, abhyasa. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I had a couple questions, but before that, just wanted to ask a follow-up for Gopal Hari Prabhu's question. When we hear that, Prabhu is saying he has been chanting 20 years and you are saying you're not there yet, do we understand that the standard we are aiming for is different? Because sometimes
Aiming for what?
Aiming for is sorry, Guru.
Perfection.
Yeah.
It's a nice word, isn't it?
Because I'm thinking definitely through these years, though we understand we are quite far away, we have definitely, I mean, each of us in different degrees, we have definitely come a long way.
Yes. Next.
Madhu and Kaitaba, Guru Maharaj, you were mentioning, they stole the knowledge.
They stole the knowledge. How'd they do that? It wasn't in a written form, it was a sound form. How do you steal sound form? I don't know. They did. And Vishnu chopped him. The sound form went back to Brahma. Because he was concerned. Demons getting this knowledge, that's a problem. Vishnu helped, so Vishnu came, took care of him. How do you steal sound? I don't know.
And the last question in the purport, I think it's a translation of 42nd verse. The message is it's necessary for the great personalities to give their mercy to the foolish people. I'm just thinking necessary. We always see that out of their compassion, they actually extend their mercy, not that it's kind of mandate or something.
Well, who's it? For whom is it necessary? Turn it around. It's not necessary for the person giving. It's necessary for the person receiving. It's necessary. Okay?
I also have a second part for that, Guru Maharaj. So when we see it's necessary, we may not be great personalities, but we are definitely receiving that great mercy in our life.
And that's a necessity.
To receive and to extend as well.
Well, the extended is not necessary. It's done voluntarily. It's not necessary. It's a subtle distinction, but you brought it up, so I'm sending it back your way. Yes. Go ahead. You've got this.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Mondays are always very difficult to start the the career or the work that we all do. How to handle after today's retreat? It's very difficult. It will be very difficult for me to start Monday. How do we? Maybe I'm not putting in right words, but yeah, it will be very difficult starting the Monday tomorrow.
Well, you do your swadharma in pursuit of paradharma. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You make the connection. It's just like remember that image from yesterday? The iron cannonballs put in a fire, they become fire. That's how you do it. You connect your swadharma, your prescribed duties, to service to Krishna. You're in the situation, every one of us, we're in the situation that we're in because we have desire. We have psychophysical nature. So we have bodies and minds that correspond with desire. So here we are with this paraphernalia, a body and a mind. And now we're meant to spiritualize it. So Monday morning is the spiritualizing of that which has brought me to my material circumstance and is keeping me there. I can't just saw it off, or chop it off, or pretend that it's not there, or none of those things work. You spiritualize it. So you connect your swadharma with your paradharma, your prescribed duties, with your higher purpose and mission of life. And if you struggle with it, then it's not yet mature stage. And then you strive to become mature. So that is although I'm not the body and I'm not the mind, I have one. I have a body and I have a mind. And with those body and mind, I have stuff that's part of my responsible life. So let me carry out those responsibilities in such a way they become spiritualized. And gradually, as you become mature, not just, older in years and gray hair and stuff like that, but as you mature in bhakti, then you become an instrument in the workplace that you can help other people who haven't had the good resources that you've had bestowed upon you, and you can be an agent to help them. It's the same message as the elevated persons want to give, but you have to receive. So you have to spiritualize your existence. The material existence needs to be spiritualized. Swadharma, prescribed duties, have to be spiritualized. Otherwise, you're stuck in the feeling that you're feeling. But you're in a fortunate position because you have a resource that, like Amrita Kelly is saying, prior you didn't have. And lots and lots and lots of people out there don't have. It's just material life. That's it. So now you have spiritual life. You spiritualize the material.
As you were speaking from the Bhagavad Gita, that was referencing, or was an expansion of the verse Prahlada Maharaj was saying. I was thinking about this because just today I was hearing from someone sharing that they're going through the toughest, one of the toughest weeks of their life. And just as Krishna is steady and unaffected by the movements of the cosmic creation, or wind, it doesn't impact the sky. I was considering, and I'd like to hear your expansion of this, how a saintly person, a devotee of Krishna, carrying Krishna Shakti, is similarly very steady as the mind and circumstances of the devotees or those under their care are moving.
When say positive and negative, or positively and negatively, when there is genuine shelter, then as duality comes and it goes, and the kaleidoscope turns and the picture changes and the picture changes and the picture changes. It can, you turn a kaleidoscope and the picture changes quite drastically. And it's hard to get it back to where it was before. It just keeps the very different picture, and again a different picture. So if you do have shelter, then it's just another challenge and another opportunity to serve in a different way. And that place of shelter and protection and the intelligence how to take this new situation forward. There's confidence that, I may not have a super clear idea in this moment how am I going to approach this new picture of what life is being presented to me. But Krishna's there, and I have faith in. So if you have shelter, you're feeling protected. If you have bhakti, you have shelter and you're feeling protected. Even there's lots of uncertainty and emotions that are turned upside down and things. It's temporary. Krishna's there, and Krishna's going to help. It's when there's shelter and there's bhakti, there's protection, and when it isn't, it's nothing but turbulence. And that's not a nice feeling. And then it can subside, and then it becomes less turbulent. And at the same time, all it takes is something unexpected, and the next moment it's turbulent again. maybe more turbulent than it was before when it was unbearably turbulent. So when there's shelter, there's protection. When there's bhakti, there's shelter, there's protection. Okay, now how do I go for shelter when I'm in this place of turbulence? It's sadhu sangha and all the things that you do with sadhu sangha, like what we're doing right now. And hopefully what everyone here did this morning, some core sadhana and so forth. And you just live your life that way. And slowly, the sense of necessity of shelter and palpably feeling that shelter becomes possible. It emerges from the chaos. So whoever this person is, the most difficult, challenging week of their life, not just good luck to them, but it's in another sense, it's a blessing, because things that are the false shelters, they're taken away. And it's, yikes, where's my shelter? So it's an opportunity to take spiritual shelter. It doesn't feel good, but in the bigger picture of things, it's great fortune. Often Prabhupada, at least several times, Prabhupada spoke about that in his own life. How he took away everything. And now he has more than what he had before. But when Hari took away everything, it didn't feel good. But he didn't lose faith. So it increased his shelter in transcendence, or in his service, which resulted in a life that's a much improved life. Same. So the misfortune is an opportunity for a devotee. Take deeper shelter.
I have another question.
Another question.
Yeah. An appreciation first is this kind of extended time that you spent with us sharing these teachings of Prahlada Maharaj, it's very qualitatively different than, let's say, a 3 or 4 day seminar. So it's just absolutely amazing. What I wanted to hear from you is from this entire week, would you be willing to share perhaps one of the key highlights from all these teachings that has really stood out for you as you were teaching us?
It keeps moving. Nothing's stagnant. I mean, I spend a lot of time on several key points, and just going. It's just part of my nature. I like to get good, clear answers to things, especially when it's not clear. I could say, without all the detail, without any detail, the merciful nature of Lord Nrsingadev, the merciful nature of Lord Ramachandra, their merciful nature. I mean, one whole class was compassion, but it was the merciful nature of the Supreme Lord. And you take that, and it just keeps expanding. There's no limit to the merciful nature of the Supreme Lord and how it manifests itself. I spent a fair amount of time, because it was just fresh. What's fresh is it keeps churning, but the merciful nature of Lord Ramachandra is what I'm going to be speaking about this evening. So that's fresh, and it sometimes looks just the opposite. Some time ago, Harish, Hemangi knows Harish, shared with me that when he was growing up, he had to stop reading Ramayana because there was so much sorrow. So it's really hard for him to stand in front of deities of Lord Ramachandra, Sita, Raman, Hanuman, because he just remembers that sorrow from his childhood. It's like, I know that's not right, but that's what I'm feeling. So I spent some time. It was one of those, I spent some time, and that's going to be the topic this evening. And I don't remember where the document is, but there's a couple of people looking for where the document is. Maybe some, did you find it?
It's already found.
You found, okay. So because he asked that question, I spent some time, and it's short. Then, a nutshell is, it's an ecstasy. The sorrow, 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 sorrow. I remember reading in Ramayana, it's like, sad story. But it's an ecstasy. When Ram had to be banished, it was ecstasy, 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 banished. And how did that strike the hearts of people? Oh, devastating. Dasrath died. And others, and others, and others, So, but it's an ecstasy. Huh? So that's our topic this evening.
Couple reflections. When you mentioned about Hayagriva, I remembered the verse Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narettamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayath. Mother Goddess Saraswati, actually I heard from Sri Vaishnavas, just like Ganesh gets the power from Narsingadev, Goddess Saraswati gets the power from Hayagriva.
Nice.
And in that context,
well, she's Brahma's wife. She gets privileges.
Sorry? See, first of all, Krishna can be revealed in our hearts if one reaches the perfection. I think you mentioned many times throughout this.
Well, I wasn't using the word perfection until somebody prompted me to use it. Go ahead.
So the point of the mood of servant of servants. So that means it's again a humility, and then the surrender depends on the humility. The more we are humble, and then the way we have the serving mood and serve Krishna, then Krishna can, based on our capacity, Krishna can come into, show her or reveal in us, in our heart, maybe. If not, the other way is Krishna wants to extend, that means the external manifestation of Super Soul is spiritual master, where Prabhupada came. Actually, Vasudev gave compassion to all of us. Prabhupada took that compassion and he crossed over the ocean to give us. On the top of it, you are here in Naperville. You are compassionate to all of us, which is, your visit here is really uplifting. So I thought of, appreciation from all over us. Actually, it's, I don't know what to say, but it's deeply, this time it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Feeling is mutual, as I said yesterday. Somebody else looking at Arudha, she's always got something to say. No? Okay. No.
So like Balram Prasad Prabhu said, me growing up in Sri Sampradaya, I remember my grandparents used to emphasize more on reciting stotras from about Lord Hayagriva every day, because they...
Every day?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. I grew up like that.
No
So they
kidding.
say because Hayagriva is the master of Saraswati, she gets the power from Lakshmi Hayagriva. So when I grew up in my town, there used to be a big Lakshmi Hayagriva temple,
Really?
I used to go every day, and my grandparents used to emphasize, reciting. But after
How
coming
many
to,
slokas did you recite when you went to see the deity every day?
yeah.
How
Even-
many?
I'm sorry,
How
Maharaj.
many slokas did you recite?
No, there is one, the Jnanananda Mayam Devam. So that sloka, every day, it's a mandatory in my home. Me and my brother, we should
Just one
recite.
sloka.
Just one sloka, yes.
Okay.
That's the powerful, that's the essence of everything. So my question is like, here in Krishna consciousness, and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear only about Lord Hayagriva rescuing the Vedas from Madhu and Kaitapa. Is there anywhere else emphasizing on worshipping Hayagriva or
In the Bhagavatam?
or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I know we worship Krishna.
I'm not aware.
Okay.
Certainly not to the extent that you're describing, but you're not saying to that extent. You're asking, is it emphasized to some degree more than this little mention? That's what you're asking.
Yes.
And I'm not aware.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I have some basic questions. Okay. Through Krishna consciousness, we are all looking for liberation, right? And that's the
No.
ultimate goal, is it? No?
We're looking for service.
Service. Through service, and afterwards.
Whatever the result is, that's the result. It's service,
Okay.
not liberation. That's a Gaudiya Vaishnava teaching. Within the service is whatever it is,
Yeah.
destination-wise, but it's service.
Okay.
I'm just hearing, for example, Prabhupada reciting a sloka from a song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and I don't remember all the Bengali, but the prayer in a song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, I don't feel I'm eligible for achieving your abode. Then if you feel that I am to take birth again in this world somewhere, please let it be in the home of a Vaishnava, even if it's in an ant. And then repeated it 3 times. So 4 times total. Even if it's an ant in the home of a Vaishnava, that's my prayer. Please grant me this prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's not me. Bhaktivinoda.
Okay.
Okay, now, I'm editing before you finish your question.
No, I was seeing the lives of Prahlada Maharaj and Hiranyakasipu. I'm seeing like both of them have got liberated, right? I mean, like both of them got liberated. I mean, Hiranyakasipu got liberated as well, like the other example.
Well, let me ask you, what kind of liberation did he get? What kind of liberation did Hiranyakasipu get?
I mean,
you're not sure.
He got back to his natural position of. I mean, he was the gatekeepers. I mean, no.
No. Nice try.
Okay. I mean,
Here's what our acharyas say. The liberation that he got was he was freed from the reactions of all of his abominable activities, but his bhakti hadn't been revived. And so it doesn't say where, and I've searched, and it doesn't say where, but he went somewhere, doesn't say where, and then took another birth. And then got killed and went somewhere and then took another birth. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can find, someone can help you find this section. Where did he, it didn't say where he went, but in his next life and in his next life. So he didn't get liberation in the sense of back to his original position. That's not what happened.
Okay.
And now let's go to Prahlad. What happened to Prahlad? Where's Prahlad right now? Is he in Vaikuntha? Or is he in Harivarsha?
Harivarsha.
Is he liberated? You bet. He has no material contact, no material tinge, no modes of nature. Squeaky clean. And serving. That's what liberation is. That's what Vaishnava liberation. Service. Sign up for the service liberation. Is that all right?
Yeah.
You have something else. You still got the microphone. You've got to do something else.
No, I mean, like I was even thinking of like the events that had happened. I mean, like Krishna. I mean, like Narasimha Dev. He came in production of Prahlad Maharaj, but he came for Hiranyakasipu to take him.
Yes.
And Hiranyakasipu never called him actually. He was just looking for him. I mean, he was just questioned, where is he? And he came for him. He basically even took Hiranyakasipu on his lap even before to a different purpose. Even before he took Prahlad Maharaj in his lap, right? For a different purpose. And he basically kind of liberated him out of.
Well, it sounds nice, but that's not exactly what happened.
So I mean, like, yeah.
Let's just stop there, because I'm ruining your storyline. Give the microphone to Gopal Hari.
Maharaj, this is a general question on the overall pastimes.
Let me just make a comment. You're a thoughtful and inquisitive person. Those are great virtues. Take that thoughtfulness and inquisitiveness to our great acharyas, and the path of spiritual perfection will be clear, and the gates will be open, and just keep moving on it. But take that inquisitiveness and thoughtfulness and direct it towards the right sources. That's my recommendation. I was being a little cute saying things, but that's the path. Good quality. Don't be discouraged by my being smart. Good quality. Use that quality and take shelter of the right places. I'm inquisitive like you. I want to know, especially when something comes and I don't know. That's one of the response. In the course of being here, several things came up. I don't know, but I want to find out. So, and it's still, and it just keeps growing. Just keeps growing. Keeps growing, and I'm still learning more to get real authoritative verification. Here's one example. Here's two examples. One example is Dvidvida made a defense against Lakshman. And because of Dvidvida's defense against Lakshman, he fell prey in the same lifetime to bad association, Narakasura, and became corrupted. Our acharyas say it was due to an offense he made against Lakshman. So I've been pursuing. What was that offense against Lakshman? It's not like the world will end if I don't get an answer. But I'm very curious. So somebody said something so I want to know, is really there? Is that what the scripture says? Or is it just they said that's something the scripture says? So I asked them. They said, I don't remember. It was maybe in Padma Purana, because I know that they have studied carefully Ram's pastime described in Padma Purana. So just today, this morning, somebody is on a hunt to go through Canto 5 of Padma Purana and find, is that reference in Padma Purana? Because I don't want to just throw something in the air and people go, oh, it must be authoritative because he threw it in the air. That's irresponsible. So be careful. Something is there because our acharyas keep referring to it. So far, it's not in Ramayana, but there's pastimes of Ram that are not just only in Ramayana. According to Madhvacharya, I hope your seatbelt is fastened. According to Madhvacharya, the Mula Ramayana is 1 billion verses. And Valmiki Ramayana is 24,000 out of 1 billion verses. And there's no copy of Mula Ramayana. And I don't know how Madhvacharya knows, but that's good enough for me that Madhvacharya said. That's authoritative, sufficient authoritative for me. So be careful. Take your inquisitiveness and thoughtfulness to the right sources. Go ahead. I don't want to discourage you. I want to encourage you. Okay, good. Thank you for that reassurance. I was being a little smart alecky, you know. Not nice, but you can take it. Go ahead.
There's, in general, you know, when we discuss Lord Ram's pastimes, and then even some in Lord Nrsimhadeva's pastimes, and then in the Battle of Kurukshetra, it said that 600 million people died. In one reference, it says that's how many people died. So it seems just that the scriptures and also the pastimes of the Lord have a large appetite, we could say, or capacity for violence. There's just so much violence.
That'd be a lot of people, man. 600 million people in 18 days. I mean, come on.
And even sometimes in our preaching, we try to hide those things. It's like it's so the Lord, the source of all compassion, and it's just Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are, you know, there for such a nice, you could say, contrast. He just liberates. He doesn't do that, and the problem also is that people say, well, okay, it's liberation. He's liberating, but and that's where I think the initial time the question came up in terms of Lord Ram's pastimes also, that that's where it came up, is that those descriptions create, you could say, a sense that violence is, you know, okay, or you know, they may encourage violence.
Well, I'm curious why you're bringing this topic up, first of all, because I'm not used to hearing the topic being brought up this way, but that's okay. That was my first response. And the good news is, for Mahabharata, all persons that were killed on the Battle of Kurukshetra were liberated. And those that were killed in the presence of Ram were freed from all their sinful reactions. That kind of liberation. And, you know, they had, et cetera, sinful reactions coming, and they were all taken away because they were killed in the presence of Ram, either by him or his soldiers. So then the topic itself of violence is something Prabhupada would not shy from. He was pretty strong. I mean, how Gandhi can take Bhagavad Gita and say it's a treatise on nonviolence is ridiculous, along with other things that Gandhi said, without going into other things that Gandhi said. I'll also mention one. I was listening to lectures in Bombay. Prabhupada was speaking in a class in Bombay. That this morning I was reading transcriptions of Gandhi's lectures on Bhagavad Gita, and Gandhi was saying in lectures on Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is fiction. Mahatma Gandhi. he didn't, his voice, I expected his voice would start going through the roof, but he was just saying it. And this is not what a Mahatma is. He doesn't say Krishna is fiction. To teach that, but he did say to teach nonviolence on the strength of what Bhagavad Gita is about. That's it's irresponsible. It's cheating. It's not what Bhagavad Gita is about. So now back to the duty of a Kshatriya is when it's necessary. This is a big thing in Ramayana. There's a culture of when and when not to use violence, when or when not to use power. So cultured people have a sense of when and when not to do anything, and uncultured people don't have a sense of when and when not to do anything. So Dharma is to have the right sense of application of anything. And violence is part of it, anything. So violence means to benefit, protect innocent, and benefit those who are being punished. Like this description of Bali. So it has its place. And people are interested in it. I mean, I've learned from, being a sannyasi, that young boys like battle scenes. Something about boys and battle scenes. You like battle scenes? Yeah. Something about it. It's just, but it's not, it's there because young boys like battle scenes. It's just part of life, and where's the place for it? So to know when and where and how to direct such a tendency, there has to be scripture when and where and how to direct such tendency, and where and not. And that's part of Dharma. And then there's Paradharma. Okay, I'm looking at the clock. I just looked at the clock, and it's time to end. We're going to end abruptly, and thank you very much. I'm going to end. Srila Prabhupada.